everyone. Welcome to your Tuesday morning Ireland AM.
Delighted to be outside not wearing a coat. So happy to be here.
Would you like my Santa coat?
Your Santa.
It's a bit late to be offering now.
We're here to help you through that pre-Christmas slump. Are we in a pre-Christmas? Oh, we're sliding in with fashion, food and funny men.
We're in a slump. No, we're not. We're all excited. Now, coming up, he's the acclaimed comedian that sold out venues from Glasgow to Galway to somewhere else beginning with G. Jason Byrne is dropping by after 9. Somewhere, I don't know. Georgia.
There you go. He can do 3G places. For something completely different, with nearly 100 Irish people having fallen victim to a sophisticated new taxi scam. I think it's cost up to €300,000 so far. We've got the signs
for
to look
100
out
people.
For. 300. I thought it was more than that because it was 300,000 in the paper yesterday. Anyway, we'll be talking about it in a while.
Plus, from the Oscar slap that shocked the world.
No, I wouldn't do that
to a catchy song about corn will round up the best of what the internet actor. I was ready for that.
I can't believe that you actually put your cheek out. I don't want to be fired. Now it's time to check in with our very own viral sensation. Deric, how's the weather looking this morning?
Yeah, good morning, guys. You're very giddy back at base this morning. It is a blustery start out there this morning with that mixture of sunshine and scattered showers. A touch of hail out there this Tuesday as well. But guys, we come in here to Dublin 1. We're in the heart of the capital here this morning because we're off to visit the Friends of the Elderly. In fact, we're gate crashing their Christmas breakfast party. We're going to be meeting some of the teams, some of the volunteers, some of the members, including Rose, who makes TikTok dance videos in her 80s. So she's down with the kids. So that's all to come right across the morning.
Ho, ho, ho! Here comes Deric. Looking forward to that. But it's now time to get the news. Over to you, Cliodhna Russell.
Thanks, Tommy. Good morning. Wholesale gas prices increased by 380% last year, while wholesale electricity prices jumped by 260% compared to the previous year. That's according to new figures from the Commission for Regulation of Utilities. The spike in prices caused a record number of customers to switch providers, 14.5% of electricity and 17% of gas customers. Former Hollywood film mogul Harvey Weinstein has been found guilty by a Los Angeles jury of the rape and sexual assault of one of the 4 accusers he was charged with abusing. The 70-year-old is facing up to 24 years in prison when he is sentenced. He's already serving 23 years after he was convicted of rape and sexual assault in his first trial in New York 2 years ago.
They have demonstrated that empowered and courageous women are able to make powerful men accountable for the injustices that they have inflicted on women. We should all be grateful to them for having made this a safer world for all of us.
The committee investigating the January 6th storming of the US Capitol is recommending criminal charges against former US President Donald Trump. The panel released a lengthy summary of its final report with findings that Trump engaged in a multi-part conspiracy to overturn the election. The committee alleged violations of 4 criminal statutes by Trump in both the run-up to the riot and during the insurrection itself.
We believe that the evidence described by my colleagues today and assembled throughout our hearings warrants a criminal referral of former President Donald J. Trump, John Eastman, and others for violations of this statute. The whole purpose and obvious effect of Trump's scheme were to obstruct, influence, and impede this official proceeding.
The funeral details have been announced for the Irish UN peacekeeper Sean Rooney, who died after the vehicle he was travelling in came under attack in Lebanon last week. The remains of Private Rooney arrived back at Casement Aerodrome in Baldonnel yesterday morning, where he was reunited with his family. Private Rooney's remains will be removed to the Holy Family Church in Dundalk, County Louth, on Thursday morning for Mass. This will be followed by a burial service in Newtown Cunningham Cemetery in County Donegal later that afternoon. Sergeant Rooney will be laid to rest with full military honours. In Thailand, over 24 sailors are still missing after a ship sank in stormy weather. Some of those who survived were in the water for up to 3 hours.
Footage has started to emerge of the crew who survived the ship sinking in the Gulf of Thailand. Navy chiefs have been meeting surviving crew members at a rescue centre. Several sailors described being swept away from the ship by crushing waters and floated for up to 3 hours before being rescued. The Royal Navy has sent 3 ships and 2 helicopters to help coordinate the search for more than 30 sailors still missing after the warship sank in rough seas. The Navy says 75 sailors have been rescued. The vessel sank Sunday night after strong winds blew seawater on board and knocked out the ship's electrical system. The loss of power allowed more seawater to flow into the vessel, causing it to list and sink. The high waves have lessened since the sinking, but are still high enough to put small boats at risk. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
Terry Hall, the frontman of The Specials, has died aged 63. The singer found fame in the 70s and 80s with hits like Ghost Town, Gangsters and Too Much Too Young. In a statement, The Specials said he died after a brief illness. No cause of death was shared.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Joe, and a very good morning to you at home, or if you've indeed chosen to watch us online on the Player. We're coming to you live here from Dublin 1 in the heart of the capital here this morning. We're off to visit friends of the elderly right across the morning in the run up to Christmas. So a real feel-good, positive story coming your way over the next couple of hours. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Ronan McIntyre on camera. We're still under the cover of darkness out there now this Tuesday morning. It's that mixture of sunshine and scattered showers once it does brighten up. At the moment, in fact, we're seeing rain there through parts of Athlone in County Westmeath and across Portona and Galway, getting a good dose of showers at the moment. Nina, North Tip and Tallow there in County Waterford, not escaping either in those strong and locally gusty southwesterly winds. Now, in fact, right across the day, it is that mixture of sunshine and showers. Those winds not taking their foot off the pedal either. Still quite strong gale force at times, especially off western and southern coast, and just about holding drier in across that southeastern corner. So southern Leinster through into eastern parts of Munster, getting the best of any brightness, any dryness out there today, with top temps of about 6 to 9 degrees. So a little bit chillier on where we were yesterday. Finally then tonight, that ongoing risk in fact of rain through parts of Connacht and into Ulster, leading on the heavy side, with again that risk of hail and some localised thunderstorm activity as well to take us through into tomorrow morning. Still quite windy tonight, breaking through into Wednesday as well, with temperatures down to about 1 to 7 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in Dublin 1 at the moment. We'll catch you back live at 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: COP15 talks agree plan to reverse biodiversity loss by 2030. A global agreement secured at the COP15 Biodiversity Summit in Canada includes new targets to halt and reverse biodiversity loss by 2030, backed by a headline commitment of effectively conserving and managing 30% of the world's land and water.
TDs feel heat as Varadkar ready to wield axe. Fine Gael TDs fear newly appointed Taoiseach Leo Varadkar will seek to exert his power by putting a number of junior ministers on the chopping block. That's the front page of the Irish Independent.
The Examiner leads with Waterford Hospital escapes trolley epidemic. There were 760 people on trolleys in hospitals yesterday, the highest level since January 2020 and the second highest since records began. University Hospital Waterford has not had a patient on a trolley awaiting admission since March of that year, that's 2020, with patient advocates calling for its systems to be adopted elsewhere.
We're going to be discussing how they do that shortly. A hero is home. The mother of Private Sean Rooney watched in tears as the plane carrying her son's remains landed at Casement Aerodrome early yesterday. That's the top story on the Daily Mail.
The Mirror goes with forever loved. The body of heroic soldier Sean Rooney is back in the arms of his heartbroken family after touching down in Ireland.
And the Sun leads with, I don't know what I'm talking about. Jonathan Dowdall's branded claims he knows how to make bombs as nonsense.
The Star leads with a hero's last journey. Hero soldier Sean Rooney will be buried with full military honours after his body was returned to Ireland yesterday morning.
And the Herald goes with no mass murder plot for Hutch. Former Sinn Féin councillor Jonathan Dowdall has denied being a bomb-making expert or planning mass murder in bugged conversation with Regency shooting accused Jerry the Monk Hutch.
Now, coming up after the break, we're going to take a closer look at some of the major stories in this morning's papers, including people who are waiting on trolleys around the country. We'd love to hear from you.
Tom Cruise.
He gets to talk about Tom Cruise. We'll explain all very shortly.
You're very welcome back to the show. Here's a roundup of some of the eye-catching stories from this morning's papers with MD of the Communications Clinic, Owen Thomas McDermott, Managing Director. Good morning.
Good morning, Tommy.
How are you, Owen?
How are you?
He's in fine form this morning, I'll tell you that. He's like
festive.
a hyperactive child running around the place.
Let's start off with a crazy story. Overcrowding in hospitals, the second highest we have seen since records began.
Second highest since records began, highest since January 2020. Crazy story, but also it's the same old story.
Yep.
It's the story that we hear every time this year, and the excuses are the same and the advice on how to fix it are the same, and it never seems to be fixed. So, for example, Phil Nahay from the INMO has said that this is totally unacceptable, that people's dignity and privacy is being affected, that it's unsafe, and that the solutions are clear. We need more staff, but also there needs to be work done in the community to stop the upstream, let's call it, to stop the patients arriving into hospitals. And then you have this confluence of flu, COVID, for example, the respiratory viruses that are beginning to appear.
Yeah.
And then what we also heard was that people were arriving into hospitals recently after falls because of ice and the bad weather. So all of that contributes to this terrible situation where there are 760 people on trolleys waiting
What is going on
in hospitals.
What is going on? Like, you have COVID, we knew we need more beds. We know we need more nurses. Like, what's taking so long? Why can this not be sorted?
Yeah, who knows? Because it seems that there is no shortage of money. Like, money is being put into it. It feels sometimes that the minister is a little bit of a commentator on what's going on. He's very good at telling what's wrong with the place, but not necessarily seeing the results, particularly on a very specific thing like trolleys. Now, one of the hospitals cited in a couple of the articles is the University Hospital in Waterford, who seem to have come up with a remedy to it, that they say, look, someone in charge of it in the hospital is important, having a full team available is important, and then using funding to buy beds really in private hospitals, so that if someone's not ready to go home, that they can go there and
thinking
not
outside the box.
So the general manager of University Hospital Waterford, Grace Rothwell, has said that they haven't had a patient on a trolley waiting for admission since March 2020. They're in their 1,000th day. Now, the INMO counts it in a different way. So they said that there have been some patients on trolleys.
But not as many as they had in 2019,
Absolutely
for
not.
example.
And they're down 30 nurses, so they don't have enough nurses to cover what they need. They say that there are staffing issues. But they have decided to put people into nursing homes. What else have they done in Waterford to try to stop this?
A couple of the other things that they've done, they cancelled day care and day cases, which again, you would say that'll have a knock-on effect down the line. If you're cancelling someone's treatment, that will have an effect. Also, they're delaying transfers from other hospitals, so that they're saying, well, you can keep them, don't
That's
send
what I'm
them
saying.
to
So
us.
other hospitals...
So there is having a knock-on effect, although the results are very positive, that it is having a knock-on
bouncers on the
effect
door
elsewhere.
It sounds like,
Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Not tonight, mate, sorry.
Because there are 5,044 patients on waiting lists in Waterford in November compared to 4,072 last year. So whilst they are keeping their hospital clear...
It's like, don't look over there.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, they have to do something.
And if people desperately need to be seen in hospital, then there's not a waiting list that can get in. Do you know, I'd say a lot of hospitals are finding people that are in hospital, but they just can't get them out because there's nowhere for them to go.
Well, that's it, and that kind of the drop-down service that they may not be quite ready to go home, but that they have to go somewhere. David Cullinan from Sinn Féin has said this is kind of a confluence or a symptom of everything going wrong at the one time. Yeah. GPs being under huge amounts of pressure, understaffing, people getting, again, sick, like staff being sick as much as patients being sick. So there's a huge kind of challenge. There is a new CEO to the HSE, a guy called Bernard Gloucester, who's coming from Tusla. He's due to start in March or April. So he has a full plate of work to get done.
He certainly does. We don't have a 24-hour system either as well. If you're in there on a Friday, you're not getting it until Monday morning. So if you've had experience of what's going on in hospitals, whether you are a healthcare worker yourself, from a porter to a nurse to a doctor, or, you know, you have someone in there, we'd love to hear from you. 0896 111.
Fed up of hear these stories
I know,
all over.
but sure, they're always there. Now, Donald Trump. And this was a story that emerged last night about the insurrection of January 6th in 2020 in Capitol Hill. And the committee has said, yes, face charges, but he's never actually going to face charges.
No, it's quite symbolic. They have said that the committee don't have the power to press charges, but what they can do is they can make recommendations to it. So that they have identified 4 areas, but ultimately it boils down to that Trump was not in favour of the peaceful transition of power to Joe Biden. And that we have the evidence, though. That's the thing I find really interesting around this whole case, is that the artefacts of history are available to us. We have the recordings of him on the phone to the officials in Georgia. We have the speeches that he made in advance of the riot, where he was threatening Mike Pence, for example, and they started chanting. We then have all of the footage of the tens of thousands of people rioting in the Capitol and the 2,000 people going in to the Capitol buildings. So it is completely... It's going to be fascinating for historians to look at this and say, gosh, what has happened?
So why won't he face criminal charges, or why won't he get done?
Well,
for
won't
then
is probably won't is too definitive, Tommy. We don't know yet whether he will face criminal
unlikely.
It is unlikely that these specific ones. We do have to remember, though, there is, for example, a very long Wikipedia page in terms of all of the litigation that Donald Trump is involved in. We do know that he's under federal investigation for classified documents, for example. We know that the New York Attorney General has a civil lawsuit investigating the Trump Organization. We know how the Manhattan...
it's literally,
it's a Wikipedia page.
It's like I could have gone on.
So there's too many things to get through.
You hear the phrase "gooboo" used in relation to Irish politics: the grotesque, unbelievable, bizarre, and unprecedented. But this is it.
I don't, but I like it.
It is totally applicable here in probably the most stark way. What's going to be interesting is what are the Republicans going to do? Are they going to keep him tied to them, or are they going to cut him loose?
But the latest opinion poll is showing Ron DeSantis is ahead of him anyway.
Yeah, well, this is it. But it's interesting. Like, if you look at some of the opinion polls, they say the majority of Republicans don't think Joe Biden won that election. And that works out about 40% of the US population. That is significant. So one of the things, or certainly that this House Select Committee were aiming to do, is to protect US democracy into the future, which is a very stark objective and worrying objective.
When you can see a civil war happening, like it doesn't seem beyond the realms of possibility unless someone like Tom Cruise can save the day. Yes, that is my segue to get out of Donald Trump, because I can't be dealing with him. Can Tom Cruise save American democracy?
Tom Cruise can save anything. He's the last movie star. He's a legend. And Top Gun Maverick, I'm devastated you haven't even seen it yet.
I haven't watched it. Which I must mean, given that they've made over $1 billion, I must be one of the few people in the world not to have seen it.
You can't be friends with Tommy anymore, because he
looks like he should be in like a Tom Cruise movie as well. He could be like
the villain, or
I was going to say the villain with the turtleneck.
With the turtleneck, yeah, that's what always happens.
Tom Cruise has done this video to celebrate Top Gun Maverick being a box office.
The most successful movie of the year, over $1 billion American dollars made at the box office.
I'm sure, why not just celebrate it by jumping out of a plane?
Now,
and just
can I just say,
away?
Tom Cruise jumping out of a plane is like me getting in a car and driving home. He does it every day. Like, it's his normal mode of transport, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I haven't seen you drive, but that does look that does look more impressive. That is hugely impressive, Byrne. It also, I think it's interesting, though, it has told us all as well that there are new, if not two new Mission Impossible movies coming out as well. So in terms of the celebration, it's as much an ad as a celebration.
Well, there's one that's ready to go, and they're filming Dead Reckoning Part 1 and 2 now. Now, I have to say, Mission Impossible.
That's part of it.
I love Mission Impossible. I think that they're amazing movies.
It's cheesy. He's a bit of a laugh. And Top Gun, Christmas. Watch it. I think it's actually going back into the cinemas as well to watch it. Finally, let's talk about my dog.
And let's talk about your dog,
a lot of
Bonnie.
other people might be in a similar situation. We came down to see the dog had eaten all the kids' selection boxes yesterday morning. And
well done, Bonnie. Dog after my own heart.
So look, this is...
Oh, she went for it.
So,
Are they selection boxes or advent calendars?
Oh, advent calendars, sorry. So the kids were horrified.
Was there chocolate in
There was
them?
chocolate in it, which of course dogs aren't meant to be chocolate, which is bad, but she's checked out and she's all good. So we'd love to hear from other people at the moment. Has your dog wrecked the Christmas tree? Has it eaten advent calendars? Has it just destroyed dogs, cats, anything? We want to see a few pictures for Christmas. Warren's obsessed.
Please send me pictures of animals near trees destroying things. I would just be so... Or a child. I'll take anything. Any small object destroying things for Christmas.
You have young
Make me
children.
happy.
Like the kids, my wife
Do you
just
have the barrier
looked
around the
at
tree?
the Christmas tree. Why are all the decorations just put... Because the kids knock them down and then they try and put them back, but they're all in the same spot. The tree's a disgrace for the kids
That's
around.
it. Well, the dog is our biggest problem, not the kids.
It's the dog. Loves the tree.
Loves the tree, loves chocolate, unfortunately, as well.
Loves the tree and chocolate.
Send us your pictures. We'd love to see them, just to brighten up this Christmas morning.
089 6 111 111 from the Communications Clinic. Owen Tomas McDermott. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
You
Nolla Cunha.
fabulous Tom Cruise villain. That's what we are from now on. Still to come, we're going to be getting the lowdown on the taxi scam that has stolen nearly €300,000 from...
And Owen Tomas will come to the rescue.
He's the villain.
All right.
The villain. He's the bad guy. Welcome back. Now, a Dublin-based gang has been suspected of stealing over €300,000 so far through a series of fake taxi scams.
So join us with some tips on how to stay safe while travelling this holiday season as journalist Geraldine Herbert. Good morning.
Holiday season, very American, I feel.
Well, Geraldine's looking very festive this morning as well.
I made the effort.
Geraldine, this is quite frightening when you see €300,000. 100 people have been affected around in Ireland so far. How does this whole taxi scam thing work?
I know, as if we didn't have enough to be worried about at the moment. OK, so basically this gang are targeting people in crowded pubs. They're normally on their own. They're normally male. Of course, I think women would be far more suspicious of these things. Men are probably a bit more open to... to being scammed.
So they're
I think
targeting
in some way.
males?
They're targeting males, so they're watching them. They're getting their PIN numbers from their phones. And this is quite easy to do if you think about it in a busy pub. You're sitting beside somebody, they're doing what's called shoulder surfing. They're kind of looking over the shoulder. They're watching the PIN go in. The minute they have the PIN, the next thing they want to do is they want to get the phone. And one of the easiest ways to do it is they set up like this bogus taxi that arrives, that gives them a lift. Now, they might ask in the taxi, oh, can I have a look at the phone and just give me your Google Maps just to see exactly where you're going, like playing dumb like this. They might use violence. They might use just pure distraction where they just take it off you. There's various different forms that this takes, but it all ends up with your phone being taken. Now, the really serious aspect is if you have very little security on your phone and you have, say, the same PIN code for your phone is the one you use for, say, your banking app, then you're in serious trouble because once they get into it, they basically can do what they like.
Because we were sitting there going, oh, but our PINs are different for, like, your
like
banking app or whatever.
Not all of them.
But not all of them. Like, for online banking, an awful lot of it's facial recognition. Once you're in there, you can transfer out of your account.
Or Revolut.
Yeah.
Revolut is one.
I didn't want to be like, it's Revolut, but it's
all
Revolut.
their
That's
fault.
what we're talking about.
Revolut could be the same on. There's other ones like that might just have a
And
digit
most of
PIN,
them
which is
do.
like your bank card.
So they can
and
transfer
unfortunately,
away.
people go for convenience. Even though they've been told to use a different PIN, they just think, you know what, it's easier when you're out just to have the same PIN for everything.
Definitely.
But this is where, if your phone falls into the wrong hands, you do not want the same PINs for everything.
And Gardaí are well aware that this is a gang that is actually operating and it's based in and around Dublin area.
Yeah, it's Pearse Street Garda Station that are heading up the investigation. They have made 2 arrests. They've seized a number of cars as well that were used as bogus taxis. But I mean, this is pretty elaborate when you think they have cars on the road. They're arriving, they're going to that extent. I mean, this is
anyone's
not
taking it. Yeah, but I think it's genius because anyone is taking a taxi. If you can get a taxi, if you're in Cork and you're managing to get a taxi, you're like, and you've had a few drinks, you're like, yeah, that's got a sign on it. I'm jumping in because it's fake plates and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, as you say, you're standing there if you get that taxi, you're going to jump in. So there's various different things you can do to check, but are you going to take the time? There's a TFI that the NTA, the National Transport Authority, have an app. You can check a taxi. Again, are you really going to stand there with like about 10,000 people waiting for the same taxi and go, hang on, I'm just going to check it on my app and see if I can use it? So,
because there's such a shortage at the moment. So what do you look out for in official taxis, really? I mean, is there anything that stand out, tips or even for people who are standing in this queue and a fake taxi turns up?
If you do have time to use the TFI app and you do download it, basically that asks you for one of 3 things, either the roof number, the licence plate or the driver's licence number. But actually the vehicle registration number is the easiest one to input, and it'll tell you whether it's a registered taxi. The thing about this as well, it'll tell you for all taxis, including limousines, hackneys, the small public service vehicles, all of those are covered in the app. So that's handy. But just basically be looking out for that it's a proper, the blue and yellow sign, that when you get into the taxi, it actually has a taxi meter. The taxi meters hooked up to a printer.
Yeah.
There's an ID. You know, there's all of those things you expect. They also should be taking cards. If they turn around and say to you, oh no, we only take cash, that's illegal now. All taxi operators have to be able to take cards. So there's little things like that. But to be honest, I mean, you know yourself, you're out for a few drinks, as you say, a taxi comes along and you go, great, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I would say protect your phone before you go out. Make sure that if your phone falls into the wrong hands, they can't do anything and they don't have access to anything.
It appears that in Dublin, where this is taking place at the moment, but it'll spread. Like, if it's working, it's going to spread around the country. Is that it's the taxi approaching you, going, beep, beep, do you want to jump in? Because that's not happening at the minute, lads. Like, that is not happening. Every taxi's booked.
Well, exactly. As you're saying, if they're looking over your shoulder to get your PIN, it's how they then get you into their taxi. So, I mean, it's a pretty elaborate scheme, the way they're doing this. But when you're seeing the amount of money that they're rinsing out of people's accounts...
Yeah, I mean, 300,000 is not a small amount. But that's the thing. Alarm bells should ring, even though it's lovely and convenient that some taxi driver is going to pull up and go, are you going somewhere? Can I give you a lift? As you say, it's not happening, Maren. You know, taxis are not there. They're not on the ground. They're certainly not driving around going, God, I'd love a fare. So if that happens, that should be alarm bells as well. But as I said, the key thing to all of this, because people go out, they have a few drinks, they forget all of these security things, is just make sure your phone doesn't have these apps on them that are easy to break.
And there's no sign, obviously we've spoken to people who were the head of Uber and everything, and they're just like, yeah, there's a shortage. Like, this is just what's like, it's around the country now. It's really bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers according to the NTA, there's about 400 less taxis on the road since 2020. But remember, the numbers before 2020 were declining anyway. So if you go back a decade like this, there's a fraction of the taxis that were on the road. Now, they do say there's new licences been issued and everything else, but anybody on the ground will tell you, where are they? They don't see them. And unfortunately, there isn't a huge amount of public transport as an option, particularly if you're outside of Dublin. You really are dependent on taxis.
It's quite frightening, isn't it? Let us know at home if you've been a victim of this, or even at home if you're trying to get a taxi. I mean, you were all trying to get into Christmas parties, trying to get home. How difficult is it at the moment? We'd love to hear from you. And it's not just Dublin, it's not just Cork or Galway. It is all over the country. Yeah. And I mean, when you're seeing huge shortages of taxis, what do we do?
I told them a great story. It's going in my memoir about me walking home in my socks the other night. So you loved it, didn't you?
We'll maybe keep that for the break.
They loved it. 0896 111 111 to get in contact with us. And looking so festive this morning.
I know. I had to make the effort because I was inside for a change.
You don't have to be outside. Talking about people being scammed, but looking so jolly. Geraldine Herbert, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And happy Christmas.
And you too.
Thanks, Hello, you're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Good morning to you if you've just joined us.
It's lovely to have you with us, and we've got lots more on the way between now and 10 a.m. We're going to be talking to writer Jennifer McShane. Jennifer has mild cerebral palsy, and she'll be talking to us about her experiences of dating with a disability. That's coming up very shortly.
Also, Funnyman Jason Byrne talks Christmas plans, turning 50, and whether a recent health scare changed his outlook on life.
Kilkenny singer-songwriter Robert Grace, he's got 2.3 million followers on TikTok.
Million followers? People get that now, Dr. Evil.
We're going to have to give people a 10 siblings on Thursday, by the way. Opens up. He's going to be talking about his whole career, his family life, and how his personal challenges have inspired and shaped his music. We'll be talking to him in just a little while.
Now, over in the kitchen, Edward Hayden is whipping up a perfect festive starter. Good morning to you, Edward.
Good morning. I'm just realising I'm coming up here to meet my neighbours. Robert Grace lives about 2 minutes from my house.
No way!
So he's another son of Great Namana.
You could have shared a lift.
There you have it.
That would have been handy, wouldn't it?
Well, you know me, I'd be always early, so I couldn't be kind of hoping for someone else to give me a lift.
Always early. That's Robert hanging onto your car. Just the penguin that's hanging off there that's going on. That's
I think I'm the last penguin left hanging on the line.
Is that what it is? What are we having?
Good morning. What I'm doing is I'm going to do a gorgeous Christmas salmon starter. So it's lovely poached salmon mixed with creme fraiche and lemon juice and a little bit of chili flakes. And I've got a gorgeous pickled cucumber to go with it. It's a really simple starter or a little canapé option, and I have no doubt it's going to be the toast of the party this morning.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic, Edward. Good man. Thank you very much. Looking forward to that.
Deric is in Dublin City Centre this morning. How are you getting on, Deric?
Yes, good morning. We're in quite a blustery one out there this morning, in fact, with that mixture of sunshine and scattered showers. A little taster of hail as well to take us through your Tuesday. But Maureen, as you mentioned, I've come down here to Dublin 1 here this morning because we're with the Friends of the Elderly. Oh my God, look at this for a spread. We've gate crashed their Christmas breakfast party. Here we go, hop up there, Patty. Pull a cracker there. 3, 2, 1, hey! We're going to be catching up with some of the team, some of the volunteers, and in fact some of the members here at the centre. Christmas party begins now.
Any room he goes into, that is the reaction. Just everyone loses it.
Here's
That's
one
what
we
it is.
made earlier.
And then
That poor young fella.
the poor
had to
young
get up on
fella.
the seat.
Oh, Deric.
It looks like
Love it.
Deric's having a whale of a time down with the Friends of the Elderly.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: COP15 talks agree plan to reverse biodiversity loss by 2030. A global agreement secured at the COP15 Biodiversity Summit in Canada includes new targets to halt and reverse biodiversity loss by 2030.
TDs feel Heata's Radgar ready to wield axe. Fine Gael TDs fear newly appointed Taoiseach Leo Varadkar will seek to exert his power by putting a number of junior ministers on the chopping block. That's the front of the Irish Independent.
The Examiner leads with Waterford Hospital escapes trolley epidemic. There were 760 people on trolleys in hospitals yesterday, the highest level since January 2020 and the second highest since records began. University Hospital Waterford has not had a patient on a trolley awaiting admission since March of 2020.
The Sun leads with, I don't know what I'm talking about. Jonathan Dowdall branded claims he knows how to make bombs as nonsense. The Herald goes with that same story.
A hero is home. The mother of Private Sean Rooney watched in tears as the plane carrying her son's remains landed at Casement Aerodrome early yesterday. That's the top story on the Daily Mail.
And the Mirror goes with forever loved. The body of heroic soldier Sean Rooney is back in the arms of his heartbroken family after touching down in Ireland.
The Star leads with a hero's last journey. Hero soldier Sean Rooney will be buried with full military honours after his body was returned to Ireland yesterday. It's heartbreaking, and just our thoughts are with the family on the cover of all of the papers today.
Now, we were talking earlier on about my dog. We were talking like Christmas trees and the mess with Christmas and whatever else. But the kids, we arrived home yesterday, or 2 days ago, to the dog had ripped open and eaten all their advent calendar. So we've got a few text messages coming in here. David said, myself and my girlfriend went out last Friday for our Christmas dinner and we came home to this.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God, they actually went first. That's the presents, is it? That's not good.
They're devils. See, I can't leave the dog in the car. Sometimes there's any food in there.
2 advent calendars. They had 24 Marco Coco chocolates, 1 box of Bailey's fingers and 1 box of Bailey's chocolate bombs. So the dog was drunk.
That dog needs to go to the vet.
Drunk after doing all that. Deirdre is in Tullamore this morning. Hello, Deirdre. And she says, see if you can spot the extra decoration. So I'm assuming we're going to be looking at Deirdre's tree. Here. Look at the little cat. That's so cute. What? I love this stuff. Why do you... I've been waiting for this for like 2 weeks. I've wanted to do
We have a curious kitty next. Deirdre from Limerick caught her cat Sooty in the act playing with some decorations on the Christmas tree. Let's see you, Sooty. What are you up to? A video of it. Here we go. Oh, Sooty, you rascal.
Why can you not find the joy in this that I need in my life?
Sooty, behave yourself.
Sooty is caught out.
I want to see it destroyed. I want to see it climbing up the Christmas tree and, oh, here we go.
It's
this is
getting
more
there.
action.
Will you give it a second? Sooty's going to go for it. I believe in Sooty.
I should put some more videos of my kids. Honestly, they come in and just whack the whole lot off it.
How about Alfie, who took a disliking to a snowman that had invaded his home and he absolutely destroyed the place we're hearing? Do you do that? Look at Alfie, is so cute. Oh, he went after, he disemboweled a snowman. Well done. Thank you for sending in these. Can you send me in more? Whatever about Tommy, you bah humbug when it comes to animals destroying Christmas. I love them. 0896 111 111. Oh, look, and he doesn't want to. He's so cute. I just want a dog. I'm very, I need a dog or a cat.
Keep those texts coming in. Thank you very much for sending them in. Now,
yes. We appreciate it. After the break, she has got 10 years' experience of online dating. Disability activist Jennifer McShane is going to be sharing her best and worst experiences. We'll talk to you very shortly.
That's great to have you back. Anyone who has done online dating will have their fair share of stories.
Oh, I did it once.
No.
No.
But dating with a disability can bring its own extra challenges.
Our next guest is here to share her experiences. Please welcome writer Jennifer McShane. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Online dating, it's hard enough. right? Yes. So, but you have mild cerebral palsy.
That's
Now,
right.
Does that bring different challenges with it?
Yeah, I mean, it does very obviously because it's something you can see, first of all. So it's both good and bad in that it's very visible, but also, you know, as I'm sitting here, you can't really tell that, you know, that there's anything different about me, for want of a better word. So having to kind of segue that in, whether it's on a profile or when you build a rapport, that's when the challenges start. And it's all to do with really how much you've been exposed to it, maybe growing up, education. And how much, if you're, you know, we normalise what we see is what I always say. So if you see it all the time, it's normalised. But if it isn't, obviously that can, you know, evoke a stronger reaction, you know, if you're not prepared maybe to see it, if it makes you uncomfortable. Often it's I tend to call it a subconscious kind of ignorance. If, you know, you're not always aware that maybe you don't have the knowledge or education about it. And, you know, we kind of fear what we don't understand. So some reactions, though they're not the nicest, are to be expected in a way.
So we hear a lot of people coming on and talking about the difficulty with online dating, and it's such a big pond out there and trying to find the right person, but it's very much pictures. So you have a picture of your face, you have a picture of you with friends, whatever else. So for you with a disability like cerebral palsy, is it difficult? Do you have a decision? Do you try and talk about it on your profile picture so people know? Is it, do you disclose? Do you not disclose? Is that a real dilemma?
Yeah, and I've been online dating for, I'd say 10 years, so it's probably moved on now from when I started, but that was always a dilemma. Like, do I say it on the profile? Do I not say it on the profile? Do I have pictures with an age? I'll usually be on a K-walker or not. And I have friends with cerebral palsy, and I was kind of trying to get their advice because it's very much an experiment, you know. And I remember I was told, you know, your cerebral palsy isn't the most interesting thing about you. So you don't always have to make it front and centre. But then if you say it early on, it's a nice filter, because if you're not comfortable with it and you know right off, that's okay. You know, swipe the other way. But now I mix it up. There is photos of me with AIDS. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes it'll be on the profile. Sometimes it won't be. And you kind of just have to experiment with it. I do have one rule, is that I always tell the person before I go on the date. So if it's not on the profile, I'll find some way to segue it into the conversation. Or if you Google me, you'll probably see it. But even that causes me anxiety, because you're building a rapport and you think, oh no, are they gonna have maybe a bad reaction if you tell them? So for me, there's no easy way to online date, because it's so visual, you know, and it's easier if you just met someone, you know, out and about day to day, but like that happens less and less. And if the way to meet people now is to online date. But I mean, what I will say is dating in 2022 is awful anyway. I think anyone out there now would say that it's difficult. So
why?
I just think it's a lot of like, it's so easy to swipe now. It's so focused on like looks and what are you going off on those apps? You know, a couple of lines and a photo. So you're having to compete with a lot and filters and all that kind of thing. So if you feel already that there's something, and everyone has their own insecurities and things that they're unsure about and that they don't like. Mine is just there front and centre.
Is there not things that you can go to where, is it really the only way to meet people is online now? Are there not?
No, I mean,
go to bars or go like that sort of, it's not done anymore, is it not?
I'm a really social person. I'd always be out and about, but I think what I find is that people are less likely to approach you maybe in that sense. Maybe, I think there's a fine line. People think, well, can I approach? Am I going to be weird if I approach? And I would be open if anyone want, but even then, it happens so little that anyone would approach you in that sense that I'm like, is that what they mean? Like, are they approaching me in that way? Or are they just trying to be nice? Like, I'm out of it. I'm out of the game in that sense.
You have been writing about this, and also you live in London, which is a massive, massive, massive city, and you're home for Christmas. But have you had bad reactions as a result of your cerebral palsy?
Yes, and I mean, and that's what I wrote about in the Irish Independent. I mean, the most recent one was the gentleman who I arrived early and with the K-walker and told him, like, if you Google me now, it's going to come up. So he
this
knew.
Is your walker
My
that
walker,
you use?
It's what I use. So I just pull it instead of kind of push it in front of me. So if I'm out and about in a big city like London, I bring it because, you know, walking long distance and whatever else.
Get tired.
Yeah. So I told him, arrived first, tucked it away into a corner, and then my back was to the door. So apparently, this is from the barista. He came in, saw the walker, deduced that it was me, and then kind of texted me to say, sorry, this isn't for me, thanks though, and walked out. Like, it just put him off. And, you know, in a weird way, it wasn't the nicest, but you have to kind of respect him early on for saying no.
Do you?
I mean, he could have sat and had the coffee with me, sure.
Yeah.
But the fact, I mean, that's just, some people are going to have that reaction. It doesn't make it any less kind of awful when it happens. You feel awful, but I can't control another person's reaction to that. And it all comes back to education and what we see in society. And, you know, I think if you're mainstream schooled or not, as I was, that makes a difference. You see more, it's integrated into at an earlier age. You know, if we see it more around us, it just becomes normalised.
Are you... But like, that experience seems really hard. Like dating online is awful enough as it is, but to have this extra layer that I suppose able-bodied people don't think about, like, it just wouldn't probably cross their mind.
I do long, like, my friends can just go on several like dates a week without having to reveal that, I suppose, something that's quite personal early on. And I envy that, because often I don't date that frequently or put myself out there as much as I should, kind of because I know. And by the way, it's moved on. People are much more tolerant than they were. You know, people are kind and we're talking about it more. But just because we have those conversations, it doesn't mean that people are seeing it more. It doesn't mean that the education is there. And that starts from when we're in school, you know.
You said, I was reading as well, other friends that you have who have cerebral palsy who are married, and that they went and they didn't mention it.
They didn't mention it. Now, I did that once where I didn't say it and it didn't go well. But two of my friends that I have, they decided on the off chance they're just going to show up for the date.
Yeah.
One of them, they're both married now, so that was it. They just found the person, didn't tell them, and they found the person. And actually, one of the couples, they actually both had cerebral palsy, but didn't tell each other till they went on the date. And and they're married now.
You're kidding me.
If you tell someone, do you not think that, like, everybody's always looking for a reason to not... I always find with online dating, you're always kind of going, if there's any chance, you'll say, no, I'm not going to bother, because there's so much, obviously. So, you know, if you're telling someone, then you're giving another reason for them to, you know...
Yeah, for them not to. But then I always think you don't want to blindside people either. Because if they're not used to seeing it and you stand up and they go, oh, what is it? I'm like, how come you didn't say it? So I don't necessarily think you have to put it on the profile. I think you can build a rapport. And if they're going to have that reaction before they meet you, it says a lot about the person that maybe they're just not ready for it. And, you know, and I've had, you know, different boyfriends and that where we started to go out and down the line they said, look, I don't know if this is something that I'm going to be comfortable with long term or whatever else. And you have to kind of expect and understand that there will be those kind of reactions. You can react to it and still be nice and have the coffee and not walk out and say, thanks, THX, you know, and not do it that way. But, you know, I mean, look, there's more than a few people for everyone. So it's a numbers game. I mean, I interviewed Matteo from First Dates Ireland, and he said that. He was like, look, if you go through the numbers, and when you actually don't care, you're the most confident person in the room. So you just go in, you be yourself, and, you know, hope that your person is out there.
Yeah. Just education in general. For people, as you said, in schools, in the workplace. The more people see different types of disabilities can only be a really positive thing going forward.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, there's no point. For years, I kind of thought if I say it publicly the way I do now, that it would put me at a disadvantage, that because I didn't see it at all when I was younger. Whereas now I feel the opposite. Now I feel like it's out there. You're saying this is me, for better or worse. And, you know, some people will really be responsive to that and others will not.
And I know that people, since you have started writing about this and that sometimes you're not comfortable putting yourself forward, that people have talked to you and gotten in contact and go, that's me, thank you for writing about this.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, I did a video for the Tate where was me and the K-Walker for the first time on camera, which I never do. And I think like over 1 million views in a few days. And the amount of messages I got to say, oh my God,
my kid has CP, like I have cerebral palsy, or my disability isn't visible, but I didn't want to talk about it. And all the messages to say, I see myself there, you know, good and bad, they see, and that's really good. And I think that alone was very telling, even with the article in The Independent. If we seen it more, you wouldn't have that outpouring.
Yeah.
So I think it's a sign that the more we see, the better it is for everyone.
Absolutely.
So,
Listen, good on you for doing that. Good on you for writing about it and being so open about it. And all the best.
All the
Hopefully,
best.
you never know when you're just least expecting. You could just walk out into the corridor here.
Do what I did. Stop looking forward and go into the back catalogue and be like, I was friends with you, I'll just hook up with you. It's grand.
Is that what he is now? He's at the back, was he?
We were friends from years ago. I was like, yeah, just you're a mate. It's fine.
Jennifer, listen, thank you so much. Great to have you with us. Fantastic.
Thanks a million, Jennifer. Cheers.
Now, still to come this hour, we have a Christmas Day starter idea for the kitchen.
Yes, plus Deric sees the amazing work being done by friends of the elderly who work tirelessly to combat the loneliness of elderly people all around the country. We'll talk to you soon.
We just need the tunes going as well.
You're enjoying that, are you? That's your dead dance.
That's me ready. I wonder if they're going to get a fancy starter like we're going to get, though.
Oh, Edward Hayden, what are you doing
can
for us
tell?
this
I've got
morning?
a gorgeous starter this morning. So a lot of people tend to go down the route of smoked salmon for Christmas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a gorgeous poached salmon starter. So it's really, really nice. So there's a couple of composite elements to it. So I'm going to get started straight away. So the first thing I'm going to do is poach the salmon. So this is my challenge to you both now to make this for Christmas, for the Christmas starter.
I can't guarantee this is going to get made now, Edward, but we'll see. I like a bit of smoked salmon, but poached, will it not like make the house smell?
No, I'm going to convert you this morning. I am going to be...
Okay, good.
I'm going to give you a full conversion.
Believe in Christmas.
Believe, absolutely. Now, so what I've got here is I've got the salmon on parchment paper. Then what I've got is just a little bit of onion or some little bit of fennel or celery or leek or a little aromatic, if you like. I've got some lemon wedges that I'm going to put in there. I've just got some bay leaves, or you could put maybe a few parsley stalks or a bit of coriander stalks or whatever in there, just to give that nice bit of an aromatic as well. I've just got some water, so just a little spoon or two of water in there. And of course, at Christmas, we'd all of us have a little droppy in a wine. Oh. So I'm going to put in a little bit of white wine in there as well.
What's with the parchment paper? Why
housekeeping.
Oh, for keep it clean.
Absolutely.
Okay,
so I'll save on the Brillo pads. But it just also keeps it from sticking. It'll prevent it from sticking.
Yes. Right.
So that's my salmon. I'm going to pop that into the oven, 180, 350 gas mark 4.
What with the leaves?
For about 20
bay
minutes.
leaves?
Bay leaves, yeah. So they're great as a flavour. Now, the second element, actually the third element, I might go and do the third element first. So what I've got is I'm going to do a lovely pickled cucumber. Now, this is the simplest pickled cucumber, but it's so gorgeous to have with like your cured meats, with your smoked salmon.
Or poached.
Or your poached salmon, whichever.
Converted.
So what I'm going to do is I've got a vegetable peeler here, and with my vegetable peeler, I'm just going to peel the ribbons of cucumber. Now, you could grate it if you want, but you can see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go right down there just to the seeds, but I'm not including the seeds in there as well, because I don't want this to be too wet.
Watery, yeah.
Now, again, sometimes what you could do with the rest of the cucumber is you could put it into a food processor with some ice and maybe a little drop of gin or vodka or something.
Just about to say.
Yeah, and I think we'd get on powerful for Christmas.
I'm like, that'll be fine for the gin and tonics.
Bit of tonic water.
Yeah, and it's like a little kind of like a little gin and cucumber slushy. Do you know?
Food waste. We don't want
we have to be so cognizant of it.
So
in
that's
fairness.
the way you make a gin and tonic, stick it in the food mixer?
No, that's like it's a little gin and tonic slushy, which you could have as like a sorbet for Christmas, you know, to cleanse your palate. You know?
Wow, right, okay, love it.
So we don't waste that now.
Keep Granny at bay.
There we go.
Now, into that, I'm going to use the 2 pieces of the cucumber, obviously. Into that, a little bit of red onion. I've got a little bit of red chilli, which I just have under a bit of tissue there. The tiniest little bit of sugar, just to kind of pull a little bit of that out. So just a little pinch of sugar there. And then what I've got is either white wine vinegar, cider vinegar, or rice wine vinegar. Pour a couple of spoons of that in there and just leave that to sit, OK? Leave that to sit. I just did this one late last night and you can see the beautiful resultant mixture. It's gorgeous. So it's a pickled cucumber, but it's really nice and really simple. Now, so the third element of that, assuming that the salmon is cooked and cooled, which mine is, I've got one here, which I have cooked and cooled. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the Irish yogurt Clonakilty. I'm using some of their half-fat creme fraiche. And we'll all have a bit of creme fraiche at Christmas for lots of different bits and pieces. Into that, I'm going to put a little few chilli flakes. They're back after a long absence. I've got a little bit of finely diced shallot in there as well. And I've also got a little bit of lemon juice. So put in the juice of some lemon or some lime in there. Now, what I've also brought with me, just because I had it at home, is just a wee little bit of coriander. But you could put parsley or chives or tarragon in there as well. But I just had a little bit of coriander. And just mix up some of that, just like that. Now, the messy part, I've called this, I've called it like a pate, but you could really call it, it's sort of like a salmon rillette. It kind of meets a little bit in the middle.
What's a rillette?
So it's just where you've shredded the kind of the salmon, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pop on the gloves there. Into this, and this is my salmon that I have poached last night. Look how beautiful that is now, Tommy, OK? So just flakes up so beautifully. I'm going to take all of that salmon, and I've just popped on my gloves here. I'm going to take it off the skin, and I'm literally going to shred that up and put that in there as well. So once all of that is in there, I'm going to pop the last little bit there. In there, we're going to pop that. And then, essentially, all you need to do is mix that together. So you can either mix it together by hand or mix it with your spoon. And essentially, that is your really, really nice salmon mixture, like a little salmon mousse, as I said, or a little salmon pate. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just pull off the gloves and I'm just going to assemble up some of that. Nice. So what I've got, very simply and very quickly, I'm just going to put a little bit of that. We'll spill a little bit. I do that to kind of make people at home feel you too can do that.
Anybody can make it.
Anyone can do it. I used to do everything too perfectly, so now I choreograph in a few mistakes.
You're
and I find,
perfect,
well,
Edward.
listen, practically perfect.
You're doing God's work.
Every day, and you have no idea.
In every way.
You have no idea. I'm the physical embodiment of the culinary gods, if nothing else. Now, a little bit of oil on the top. And I just think what you want for Christmas is non-complicated. So in the words of Beauty and the Beast, be my guest.
Oh, my God.
Be my guest.
Be my guest.
I love the way you're like non-complicated. There were so many elements to this.
Yeah, there was.
Listen, in zip time.
I want to try this pickled
But
cucumber.
also, can I just show you, when people are coming around, if people are coming around for drinks or something, think of these lovely crisp breads, which I have. I've piled those with a little bit of salmon, just like so, and a little bit of your pickle. Now, when you think of your lovely sparkly blazer, a glass of bubbles, and a little canapé, you would be a hit.
So tell me, how do you do the bread quickly? What was that?
I've just got a baguette. I've sliced it very thinly, and then I've just drizzled it with a little bit of rapeseed oil into the oven, about 190 for 8 or 10 minutes, and it just gives that lovely textural interest. But it's a really kind of a scoop up and have it. That is your Christmas starter.
Good.
Christmas Day, I want to see 2 pictures of those coming my way.
That is so good. Did you, because we had Tara O'Connor here yesterday doing tablescaping. I imagine that you do.
Beautiful. I do a fabulous table.
I bet you do.
Fabulous table. Now, we always were told at home that self-praise is half scandal, but I do a fabulous table because I have lots of fresh foliage on it and lovely candles. And listen, you'd nearly need a map to get around it.
Oh, my God.
Because I have a very big table, so it always looks beautiful.
I'm
very posh, you know.
We're going to be invited down at some stage.
Very
I'm sure
posh.
we will.
A little soiree.
Edward Hayden, happy Christmas. A pleasure as always.
And the same to you both and all of the team.
joy.
And all of the viewers every week who are always so kind to me, which is always nice in my classy, trashy Christmas jumper.
You sure
we love
are.
you. We love you, love you, love
Classy,
you.
trashy, that's you, Edward.
That is you, that's it. Coming up, we're going to be catching up with Deric. Talk to you shortly.
You're very welcome back. Deric is standing by with some festive friends to share an important Christmas message. Deric, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Tommy. Look, I've got the Christmas jumper on because we are in party mode here this morning with friends of the elderly. Good morning, guys. A big wave. You're on national TV. Please do not swear. Anyway, we're having a great morning here this morning, I have to say. Deborah, good morning to you.
Good morning, Deric. You're very welcome here.
Now, tell us about Friends of the Elderly.
Friends of the Elderly, we're based here on Bolton Street, and this is where we are this morning for our Christmas breakfast. So we are a charity established 42 years ago to alleviate loneliness and isolation through friendship for older people.
And you have a lot of activities going on here.
Huge amount of activities. It's our aim to try and keep our centre open and something happening every single day, because older people really need that. They need to feel that they are part of something, that they have friends, and that they have something to do.
And now you're up and running 40 years. You're up and running a long time.
42 years, absolutely. We had a great celebration, a little bit delayed because of COVID, but it was a magical time.
Now, you have a lot of people coming through your doors as well, don't you?
We do, and we see lots of different reasons why people come to us, for many reasons why they're lonely. It might be that they've lost a partner, or they might be recently just widowed, or they may have lost a friend, or they may not have family, or they may never have had family. So there's lots of reasons why they may find that they are now older and they don't have that network of people around them.
And let's talk, Deborah, about loneliness and Christmas, because everyone associates Christmas with, you know, a great fun time of the year, but for many people it's not.
I know, everybody thinks of Christmas as being this magical time of the year. Yes, it is, and it can be. But for, you know, we think of the words, say, Silent Night, the carol, and we all think of these beautiful images of Christmas trees and everybody coming along. But for older people, Christmas is just another silent night where nobody calls and nobody visits.
But do you know what I noticed here this morning? Isn't there great camaraderie among them all, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's one thing that's so magical and special about Friends of the Elderly. It doesn't matter whether you're in our club, you know, 20, 30 years, or you're only here a week. Everybody just comes together and they're sharing the same interests and the same ideas, just to have friendships.
And that's very, very important. Now, Rose, I'm going to pop over here. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning, Deric.
You're a Coolock girl.
I am indeed. All the way from Coolock.
Absolutely. Now, tell us, you're with the Friends of the Elderly a good few years.
Yes, a long time.
And you enjoy it?
Absolutely. I'd never miss it. It's priority, you know.
Yeah,
it's so enjoyable.
I was going to say, there's always something on here in the centre.
Well, you know, they look after us so well. Like, we're spoiled, really. We're spoiled rotten, because for people our age, my age, like, I'm nearly 80 now. 80 and me.
You're 80. Don't look a day over 60.
Thanks for that, Deric. I'll see you later. Pay you later. But like that, you know, people our age would be lost only for things like this. Yeah. Now, Bernie and the girls are so attentive. The minute you walk in this door, you have a cup of tea handed to you, or what would you like, Rose? Would you like tea, coffee, you know?
You come in here and you have your friends around you, which is great.
All around,
it's nice company. Now, I believe you're a big TikTok sensation.
They asked me to do a TikTok, one of the young girls done it with me, one of the girls who look after us, the students. And I said, how long have I got to learn this? 10 minutes.
This is a dance, by the way.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
I looked at it online, about 10,000 views. You're doing well. And you love dancing, Rose?
Oh, I love it. I've been dancing all my life. All my life. Every kind of dancing. Contemporary dancing, ballroom dancing. Rock and roll is the best one.
And there's great music. June is
we rock and roll here with the band.
Which is great. And one man who's involved in the music here this morning is Michael. Good morning to you, Michael. How are you? Now, Michael, you've had a busy morning. You're involved in the music here in the centre.
Absolutely. It's my privilege to play here.
Yes.
It makes me feel like I'm back in the show band scene.
Yes, and you came from the show band era.
Yes, I was with the Cotton Mill Boys, the lead singer.
Travelling all over the country, the UK as well.
UK, everywhere, yeah.
And what does it mean for you to be involved here in the centre?
I think it's great to be able to give a bit of music to these people, because they come every week faithfully and have a bit of a sing-song and a dance, and it's really great to see.
And there is great camaraderie here as well.
Oh my God,
great friendship.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant.
Which is lovely. And Christmas time, how are you set for Christmas?
Oh, very busy.
Good. I know your daughter's back from...
My daughter's coming home from America for the first time in 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Look forward to seeing
her. And we're all going down to my other daughter to have a Christmas dinner.
Yes, and your wife Mary then?
Yes, well, she's recovering from a cancer operation, but she's doing fine.
She's doing well. So we want to send her best wishes to everyone in Connolly Hospital as well.
Thank you very much.
And as we were saying there, it is a special time of year, but especially for older people, to reach out if they need a bit of help.
Very much so. You know, yes, we are during our annual appeal time. We are looking for Christmas donations. So if anybody this morning wants to dig deep, please support us. But equally, if there's somebody listening today who needs our support, lift up the phone and ring us. And I'm sure you'll give the details out at the end, because we will be delighted to bring this magic directly into your homes too.
Right. Well, friendsoftheelderly.ie, I believe, is the website. Is that correct? We're going to finish off with a little sing-song. You up for a sing-song? Yeah. Here we go. So 3, 2 and 1. a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Off we go. May your treetops glisten
and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow.
All together now. Still to come in the final hour, the hilarious Jason Byrne talks Christmas comedy and getting banned from TikTok.
Go on, keep on going, lads. Go on, Stephen. Plus, we chat to Ireland's most viewed music star on TikTok who has not been banned, Robert Grace. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes. Twas the week before Christmas, and all throughout Virgin, not a creature was stirring or getting any work in.
Alan Hughes had long gone to bring all the panto cheer, while the rest of us waited to go on the beer.
We still have a show, so gather round and take note. We've singers and comics, plus the perfect Christmas coat.
Coming up this hour, a comedian so shifty, Jason Byrne drops by to talk turning 50.
Plus a viral singing sensation that captured the heart of the nation, and fabulous fashion with the one and only Lorna Weightman.
I feel very special to be included in
You're included in our night before Christmas poem. Can you do fashion in poetry form?
Oh gosh,
No.
I don't know if my skills will stretch that far this morning. If you haven't got your Christmas coat sorted, I'm going to give you some designer-inspired looks this morning for less, and we love a designer dupe. So Michael Kors, Loewe, Stella McCartney, lots of big names, and how you can achieve the look for your Christmas outfit if you haven't got that sorted already.
Love it, Lorna. Thank you very much. Now to get over to Deric with the Friends of the Elderly who are singing so tenderly.
Let's go, go. Oh, lads, we're in the middle of party mode here this morning. Go girl, lad. Come on, give her a twirl. Shake what God gave you, Anne. Lads, we're having a great morning here this morning. We're with the Friends of the Elderly here right across the morning. Go girl, Brian, go girl. Give her a twirl. We're having great fun. We've weather on the way another little bit, but the party continues here in Dublin. Oh, girl, give her a swing there. Woo! Ew!
I could watch that all morning.
Sorry. And shake what God gave you. That's what we need. Shake what God gave you.
About being in his element. He'd spend all day there. Love it, Deric. Thanks very much for that. You're very welcome back. Now, we were talking to Jennifer McShane earlier on, who had cerebral palsy, and she was talking about how difficult the dating world is in general, but with having a disability, you know, do you disclose your disability on the dating apps? Do you not? And just the whole dilemma around it. We have a message in here. Dating with a disability. I'm an amputee. I did online dating for years, even before losing my leg. I found if I added to my profile, I got less replies, as we're just meeting up and saying it was much easier. I was lucky enough to meet some lovely guys who are great and some whom I'm now just friends with. And of course, those who were not worth the connection. However, not having been out since before COVID, I have to get my skates on and get myself back out there. And Jennifer was just saying that she prefers to let people know before going into a cafe and restaurant and having to disclose it then. It was really interesting to hear her take on how difficult
able-bodied people don't have to think about this, and we already go on about how hard online dating is, without this other layer that we just don't have to deal with. So we really appreciate it, Jennifer, and if you're looking for her writing, you can find it all at Jennifer McShane online. It was lovely to talk to her.
I'm not sure who sent that message in, so thank you for getting in touch. Now, we were also talking about dogs and cats and Christmas trees, because Muireann is obsessed. She loves it. So we've got a picture in here from Elaine. This is Yoshi the cat from Kilkenny destroying the train tracks just under the tree.
Hi, Yoshi. I love you. And it's Super Mario, which reminds me of Christmas as well. More cat pictures just sitting there. I'm so happy right now.
So Amy said, no animal destruction in this house. Only some good pup waiting for Santa Paws.
Look at that, gorgeous.
Oh, isn't that so cute?
Mary, try and spot our rescue dog Ted amongst the teddies. Love and life. They've got a lovely picture of Ted there. Oh, look, he looks like a teddy bear himself. I love him.
And Colette, last Christmas Eve, I went to evening mass. When I got home, I discovered my two dogs had opened and eaten a whole box of dairy milk, a large one. Up to the vet after walking around the vets in the garden waiting for him to be sick. €120 later. And a sleepless night, we got through Christmas just fine.
The amount of times, vets are taken up with dogs eating chocolate. That's it now.
Well, listen, our dog polished off 2 advent calendars. and enjoyed every bit of it.
No vet for Bonnie, was it?
No way.
No, she's fine.
She ate a full Terry's chocolate orange once as well. She's got a stomach made of steel, that dog.
She takes after you. It feels like that's what it is.
Where she gets it from.
Oh,
Now, after the break, he's here. He's got the Christmas jumper on. Jason Byrne?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, kind of.
It's a safety pin.
Yeah, it's a happy safety pin.
Happy safety pin day?
Yeah, that's what's happening.
He's so stylish, that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, thank you. God, I wish I had Tommy Bowes stuff, though, but I don't.
Exactly. Listen, we know what to get you for Christmas.
Well, don't forget the plug-in. We'll talk to you in a
Jason
second.
Byrne after the break.
Welcome back. Our next guest is the world's best stand-up, and this is according to his mammy?
Oh, yeah, me mum, that's okay.
Yeah, your mum, that's okay.
Yes, and his nationwide tour Unblocked kicks off this new year. And who better to get you over the January blues than Jason Byrne? Good morning to you, Jason. Great to have you with us.
We can't stop looking at the jumper.
I know, isn't it cool? There's a lot of safety pin going on, isn't there?
It's a big safety. It's great.
I didn't look.
Did you not realise it was that big a safety
No, not
pin?
only now when I see it on the telly, it looks massive, doesn't it? That's coming towards people.
What sort of statement are you making?
Well, I don't know. I got it because I never got into Trinity College, so I thought if I did this, I literally could feel.
Could be your chance.
I was wrecking my mates' heads in the pub the other day, going, I've got a BA in arts, and this is all you have to do to be in college. That's it.
Well, they have to do it to kekeep warm because they can't get anywhere to stay.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the rent.
No rent. I'm so cold.
But this jumper as well, because I bought jumpers in another place, who don't mention it, and I shrunk them all.
Okay.
They were all literally went down to that like that, little dolls.
Yes.
So I thought, be careful with this one, right? And it says on the back that you can't wash it, iron it.
Can't do
put it in a
anything.
basin.
No.
How am I supposed to clean it?
You just wear it once.
What?
No.
You're
Keep wearing
minted
it.
though. That's not fair. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at
his clothes are all
How does your clothes range go?
Yeah, mine washes very well.
Oh, does it?
Just so you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Christmas
Sorry.
presents. I'd say you're a devil to buy a Christmas present for, though, are you?
Yeah, I'm a nightmare. I don't like people buy me clothes, and I don't like colours much. So, my mum bought me like tracksuits, and because she heard, you know, when your mum heard you're doing something.
Yeah.
So I was doing a bit of running. So that's it. I was into running.
Okay,
So
so
get him tracksuits and tops and all.
like my father for years, everything had to do with golf. It didn't matter if you wanted anything. It was just everything was a golf.
Practical presents.
here we
Are you
go.
not for practical presents? No.
No.
What do you use?
I wasn't going to use them because my mum, I love my mum, but God bless her, she's going to buy the cheapest thing because she loves doing that, right? She's going, geez, you wouldn't spend that there. That's £30. I got you a lovely pair of shorts there now for £5. And then, so you're running, you're just getting rashy, do you know what I mean? And sweating. Do you know what I mean?
The chafing isn't a good thing.
Yeah, the
right?
chafing's a bitch because if you get, as you know, cheap sportswear is going to kill you.
And you
Not
don't want to
good.
be talking to your mother about your chafing situation. It's all very awkward.
No, not really.
No.
No, but then again, my mum, actually, I don't think
She'd be
she'd
fine.
mind.
And what's
She's
the
one of
plan for?
those.
Do you spend Christmas with your mum? Like, what's the story?
Yeah, but I mean, my Christmas is, I've never stopped moving around for Christmas.
Okay.
Ever. So, I would love to be one of those outfits that sits in on Christmas Day and goes, I'm not going anywhere. They can all come to me.
Yeah.
So those fellas, I'd love that. But it started years ago with my dad. So my dad moved to Ballantyre, by the way, from Finglas.
Yeah.
And he had 7 sisters in Finglas, right? And he moved out there, and my mum started crying because that was miles away, right? So that's what started then. So on Christmas morning, we'd have to get up, get into the gear, go up to the mass, come back down, or sometimes we'd have to do midnight mass because we mightn't have time. So we had to get up. My dad then drove to Ballybock, right? And no motorway, so that's into town and all, right? All through Harold's Cross. And then we meet those aunties and uncles, right? And then a couple of jars there, because in those days, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Right? And you go, what's going on? And then we get in the car and we go to Finglas, and we meet me dad's side of the family. I mean, that granny. And then we wouldn't be home till 8 o'clock that night having our dinners.
Happy Christmas.
Everybody's hammered. and it's
Those people loved Christmas. I'll tell you what,
turkey's dry.
exactly. Imagine trying to cook a turkey, I would just have the slow burner there. It'll take its time. How burnt it would have been.
Well, talking about moving around then, because then when my nana passed away, my dad said he was going to stay then in the house. And then, of course, they just stayed there, and all the neighbours came in, and they were having jars. And my dad was like, well, you have to have a jar, it's Christmas, right? And they're all coming in. And 2 Christmases, they forgot to put the oven on
2 Christmases.
And they went, my dad went with this, lovely, I'll get the turkey out. And it wasn't even up.
And there's nothing there. He's ready to like
That's happened in
lash
our
into
house
it.
before as
Lash
well.
into it. I think lots of families have stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Forget, you get too carried away with it.
But buying stuff for your parent, that's hard. My dad never wanted anything. Do you know what I mean? So what you want? He goes, I don't, nothing.
Nothing.
Socks.
So one day he did what you just did right there. He says, teapots. I like teapots. This really happened, right? And so people started buying novelty teapots, right? And, and one night they were having a bit of a do in the house. And he had like nearly 30 teapots up on shelves. And Bernie McBreen, right? Bernie will love to be mentioned, right?
Hey, Bernie.
Bernie was singing it all and dancing and all. She fell backwards into all the teapots and broke them all. And she started crying. She goes, Paddy, you're good teapots. And then my dad went, I don't like teapots. Will you stop buying me teapots? I'm delighted they're gone.
I love it. That was a way to get rid of it. Party in the house, all good to go.
So if your dad says this Christmas what he wants, he probably doesn't.
No.
Because you wrote a play about your dad, didn't you? In the Edinburgh Fringe.
Oh.
Like, did the teapots get a mention in
They did
the play?
actually.
They actually, yeah.
So my dad, the idea, I was always doing stories about my dad and my stand-up, you know, 'cause he was just so funny, so laid back, real deadpan comedy, do you know what I mean? And so someone said, why don't you do a play about your dad? And I said, oh, yeah, OK, I think I could do that. Because I become him on stage, you know, when I'm doing a story. So I got a shed in Edinburgh, like we built, like not an actual shed, but we like the inside of a shed. Yeah. And I dressed up as him and I became him for the hour. And the thing was that, yeah, there it is there in Edinburgh. And that's all his stuff, by the way. There's his red lemonade and his whiskey. And I brought the red lemonade.
There's a real dad.
There's the real, yeah,
Class.
that's it. He just lived in there. Do you know what I mean? And you can see it's just a shed. It's not even that posh.
But he was so happy.
Surrounded by stuff. So I did the play about him because he had, you know, he died of a stroke and all that. And that's what the play is about. But it's also my mum and my sister. They're recorded and they're played in. You can only hear them.
Yeah.
My dad sits there listening to them talking. But my dad, he hated crying and moaning. So the great thing about it was that he tries to stop all the crying happening all the time in the play. You know what I mean? By telling people to stop, you know, crying.
Just stop crying.
Yeah, don't be moaning now, you know.
You stop it.
It's just a play. And then there's loads of funny stories about my dad growing up then. That's what the mixture is.
Because you've
I
always
love doing it.
talked so fondly about your dad, God rest him, and your whole family, actually. But it did, because he died of a stroke, and then you've had, like, heart issues. Like
Yeah, so we always said that when my dad passed away, the only thing he left us was high cholesterol.
High cholesterol, yeah.
There was no money. There's no money. Do you know what? It's brilliant.
You're the shed.
Oh, no, it is very funny when you're going, did he leave his head? No, just cholesterol's grand. And he didn't care.
But is it a good thing that at least you keep an eye on it? Because you do have to keep an eye on it.
I have 6 stents now. I'm like collecting them.
6 stents?
Yeah.
So you collect stents like your dad collected teapots?
Yeah, exactly. Except I hope not to get smashed. Yeah, there's me in hospital. Brilliant again. I know.
But your new tour, it's called Unblocked.
Yeah, not anymore. So it was called Unblocked because I had 5 stents in. And then at the end of the tour in Britain, I didn't feel too good. And I was always saying this, like, our bodies are amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have to listen to them. Like, the things that they can do when they're not even that heavily injured. So I didn't feel well at all. I felt like my gut instinct, and I always listen to my gut now, said, don't go on stage. I didn't feel well enough. I just felt like I was going to collapse.
Really?
Yeah, I felt really weak.
Because these sort of things, like, it's kind of, these heart diseases, they're kind of the silent killer almost. They say you don't feel it. So you actually didn't feel right. You knew something wasn't 100%.
So when I had my first 5 stents in, I got a tiny pain in my heart. That's all. And then I went to the doctor and it was, you know, your main arteries, the smaller branched arteries were blocked. And so they stented them, and it was so amazing. They did it all in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
No
unbelievable, isn't it?
Up into your wrist or your groin. And then, so this when it happened, I just didn't feel great. I just, you know, when you don't feel, you should go to a doctor, there's something going on. I went in anyway, got back over to Ireland, and they did the angiogram where they go inside and had a look. And just at the bend of one of the arteries where the stents are in was just a tiny bit narrowed. And he said, you shouldn't be able to feel that. And he
really?
says, yeah, he said, that's not life-threatening what that is. He says, but this is so Irish. He goes, sure, I'm in there now, I might as well stent it.
Might as well
stent it.
So how are you feeling? But how are you feeling at the age, you know, you've turned 50, 6 stents, you're looking great.
Well,
you're on stage all the time. Safety.
My dad would have loved that.
Beware of safety.
What do you do with a pin on your jump?
He definitely would have. He would have commented on that.
All right there.
But like, are you changing the name of the show? No.
No, I don't know. We're going to have too many posters.
I was just about to
but
say.
It's great. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares the name of the show. But I will just... No, not changing the structure of it either, you know?
No, no.
I'm not jumping around like I used to either. So
Tell us quickly, I want to hear about... Did you get banned from TikTok?
He's continually getting banned from Instagram
I get banned
and
from TikTok. I get put into Facebook jail all day. You know what I mean? Well, on TikTok, I just dressed up as Joe Wicks, all right? And because I love Joe Wicks, I thought fair play to him. So I dressed up in me jocks and I made basically a willy out of tights and a sock. And I hung him out to the side and I did jumping jacks.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and that's all I did. And then TikTok I got a big message going, your whole account is banned.
That's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Of all the things that happen.
To be fair, the actual stuff I've seen, that was a joke. The stuff I've seen on TikTok that doesn't get banned.
Exactly.
You should have been grand.
I know, exactly.
You kind of love getting banned, though, at this stage.
Well, it kind of worked out well. I was able to show it up on a screen in the show, and they were like, that's brilliant.
That's what you're allowed to do. That's amazing. Where are you going in the new year? You've got Unblocked. You're all over the place in January.
JasonByrne.ie for all the dates. We've got like Vicar Street, like INEC, Killarney, like, you know, everywhere.
And you can give him tips on how to clean this jumper that cannot be cleaned.
Because I'm going to come back in next, it's going to be like this.
I think just cold wash water.
I don't think it says you can't.
Hang it when you're having a shower and the steam will actually deodorise it. It's a very good one. I'm just telling you
I'm so glad I came in here.
Jason Byrne, pleasure to have you.
I have to have a shower at my jumper now.
You're going to... No, hang it beside you. Hang it beside you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a million, guys.
Thanks, guys. After the break, we're helping you snap up the perfect catwalk-inspired coat, but without the designer price tag. We'll talk to you shortly. We're going to be talking fashion, and Tommy's going, are you going for pints, lads? Is everyone going for it? Are we going for pints? That's great. Lorna Weightman is here to keep you stylish and warm this winter, whether you're going for pints or not.
Lorna's got all the gear ready for us for going for pints.
That's it.
We'll go for pints. We'll go for pints.
So we're concentrating on coats.
We're concentrating on coats, and I was just thinking, just in case you can't get home, you'd be nice and warm. Last week, some of these would have been very, very handy, but we will get another cold spell.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's all about really kind of designer-inspired looks for less. And one thing I really am kind of conscious of is staying warm, but kind of feeling like you look good as well. And I remember during the pandemic when everyone was standing outside having a drink, you wanted to be cozy, but look really, you know, really good at the same time. And we've held on to that.
Our inspo
So our inspo is this North Face jacket, which is a very kind of iconic colour combination from the brand.
It's been around forever, decades.
Forever. And you know, it's one of those tried and tested styles of puffer jacket that always will do well. Except I've got the option from Pennies. So if you didn't want to splurge on the North Face one and you wanted to see if you got use out of it, then this is the one to go for, which is really good. And it's almost identical without branding.
It's pretty much identical, Pennies, isn't it?
That's it. And the great thing about this is it's fully insulated. It's also shower-proof. So the water will actually just flow off it. Now, there's a difference between shower-proof and waterproof, by the way. So shower-proof will just kind of, the water will just skim off the jacket. So you kind of, you know, you wouldn't be going out in it now in an absolute deluge of water.
You would get wet,
it's very handy to have. And if you wanted to get colour into a puffer jacket, it's a great way to do it. And I think this is a really, really good one. And it's so cosy.
And you've just teamed it up, just all black, so black T-shirt underneath.
Yeah, exactly. And in the lookbook for North Face, they kept it very similar to kind of show how outerwear can be styled in with your kind of street style inspired look. So black jumper, black coated jeans from Pennies as well. So they're a nice kind of balance for the look. And then these really chunky boots. The boots really are another kind of designer-inspired look all on their own, like Bottega Veneta, who did massive chunky boots, Givenchy as well. And, you know, you want to keep your head warm as well, so we've got these lovely little beanie hats that are from greatoutdoors.ie. So they're lovely in fleece lines to be nice and cosy from head to toe.
Love a bobbly hat. Thank you, Vanessa. Look 2 is inspired by Michael Kors.
Yeah, Michael Kors did another version of the puffer jacket, but almost in a very chic way. And this one was slightly different in that it had like a fleece lined on the inside, so very, very chic, but at the same time very light, so it's a really good layering option.
Very, very chic. I like it.
Very chic. I see what you did there. Chic and sheep.
There we go. Oh, this is lovely.
So it's lovely. So you get that fleece lined kind of little bit on the collar, so you can pop it up over your head and keep you nice and cozy. But it's really similar to the Michael Kors look. And it's quilted as well, and it's got a drawstring on the bottom, so you can kind of pull it in nice and tight to your body if you wanted to. The fact that it's also kind of cropped means it works really well with high-waisted jeans and skirts as well. So it'll keep your body in nice proportion too. And it is slightly oversized, so it'll be perfect layer for if you wanted to wear a chunkier knit underneath it. Exactly. But these kind of style of coats are great all year round. So well into spring, you can put your t-shirts underneath it. Other kind of lighter fabrics as well. The scarf is just keeping your neck warm, because this one kind of sits a little bit further away from your neck, so you keep nice and cozy with that. And the jumper has got the detail in it that, let's say, all of the jackets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's cute. It's really nice. It's just elevating the jumper a little bit as well. And especially when you're wearing kind of two similar shades, all of those details like lace or embellishment will kind of set the two tones apart.
Do you know who'd love those jeans? Tom Cruise loves a boot cut pair of jeans, make him look taller.
Listen, I'm all over it.
He'd love these.
They are the secret weapon of jeans, right? They will make you look taller, elongate. They always are a really good fit as well. And then with the boot, the flare or the boot cut actually sits really nicely. So if you're going for a flare, kind of go for something that has a bit more of a chunkier heel, which just makes the denim sit a little bit better along your body as well.
Victoria Beckham never gave them up.
She never gave them up. And I love how she champions them.
It's so good. So our look 3 is inspired by Stella McCartney.
Stella McCartney went for a lot of monochrome for autumn winter. But what's lovely about this two-tone one is you've got a stripe, but it's not an overpowering stripe. So you'll see how like the black is a little bit thicker than the cream, and there's a smaller stripe through it, and it's a look I think that's actually going to keep coming back over and over again. So I found a very similar one in Pennies, which is really great. Now this is a very light fabric as well, so it's going to be a bit of a kind of all season, all wear kind of look as well. Yeah, so it's quite light, so we've just teamed it up with a nice jumper to show how you can actually just layer really simply.
Yeah.
It's also quite oversized. You'll see how it's sitting on Kelly. It's a little bit broad on the shoulder. It hangs a little bit longer. It's got a kind of overhang on the shoulder. The seam just comes slightly down over it. So it means if you wanted to wear a heavier or thicker fabric underneath it, it's not going to change the shape of the coat.
You can totally get away with this.
Exactly,
if you,
you can. Yeah, and because it has a really nice collar on it as well, your options for necklines are kind of, you know, endless really, which are really nice. And that's just a little jersey cotton top underneath it, like a turtleneck.
Yeah.
So if you want to get that kind of coziness closer to your face, but not the wool or knitwear effect, then these are actually really handy to have.
Okay.
And they're great for layering as well.
And these are straight leg wax as well, are they?
Yeah, straight leg wax cut. And what's great about these jeans is that if you get anything on them, you can literally wipe off the stains.
Perfect.
So super handy. And I've gone with the flat this time. So these are really pretty jewel flats if you wanted to get in a really dressy flat shoe this week for festive week.
Cute.
They are so cute.
And Dr. Zhivago on the top.
Isn't it just so Dr. Zhivago? I love that. And actually, we were talking earlier how earmuffs and those kind of headbands have really made a comeback this season, and they're so cozy. Loads of earmuffs. Yeah, they're by a brand called Bart's of Amsterdam. So they know how to make something really snuggly, and they're from Great Outdoors.
And it's my first time seeing Kelly since she had the baby. It's so good to see you, Mom.
Good morning, Kelly.
New mama's back.
Baby's doing all good? Oh, he's gorgeous. Sorry, I can't stop staring at him on Instagram. Thank you so much. Good to see you, and great to have you back as well.
And Vanessa.
And Vanessa is back. So we've talked about brown and beige a lot this season, and there's been so many styles on the catwalk. This one is from Loewe, Spanish brand Loewe, which is actually headed up by J.W. Anderson, who is one of our own.
He is.
And he has his own label as well. And the next look is from Saint Laurent. So you'll notice how there's differences in these coats. They don't just sit straight. We've got ruching, you've got layering. There's tulle on the bottom of the Saint Laurent look. So when you're looking for this colour, because I think it's slightly more difficult to wear, you want to see if there's points of difference. And on this coat, we've got so much. You've got a collar, you've got pleats, you've got a belt, and it makes the colour just that little bit easier to wear.
This is a lovely look. Underneath,
really
you just got polo neck and you've got leopard print.
Exactly. And actually, brown and black do work together. 100% work together. You can even buy them in prints. And I love the combination of this. It has a trench coat feel, but it's heavier. And it's really, really substantial coat. And you'll notice that you've got like the lovely black in the print picks out the black in the jumper, which also lends itself to the coat. So all in all, it's a really, really balanced look. And
sparkly boot.
And a sparkly boot. I love these. You can see how the light is actually picking them up. And if you're going for a ankle boot with a skirt like this, just a little bit of a gap between the end of the skirt, like the hemline, and the top of the boot, just keeps your body in proportion nicely if you didn't want to go for that knee-high look.
They're all gorgeous looks, as always. Lorna Weightman.
Thank you.
I love that
knocking it out of the
jacket.
park.
That's an amazing jacket, yeah.
Happy Christmas.
Happy
and thank you for everything this year.
Christmas. Oh, my pleasure. I'll see you in January.
Yes, you will. Lovely to see you.
Have a great one.
You too.
Coming up next, he beat Niall Horan to become Ireland's most viewed music star on TikTok. Robert Grace is going to talk to us about new music after the break. He first came to prominence with his debut track Fake Fine back in 2020, but since then, Robert Grace has gone on to huge success.
Before we chat to the Kilkenny singer, here's a listen to his newest track, which is called Not Okay. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's lovely to have you here, and we've gotten to speak to you throughout the pandemic, normally, you know, through a screen, so it's so nice to finally meet you. And the thing is, with your music, you've been so open about incorporating mental health into songs.
Yeah.
And that's something that people have really gravitated towards, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I kind of like, what I like to do with my music, that's the main message, I suppose, in my music, is the kind of mental health aspect, and also trying to make, you know, people feel like they're not alone, and that there's other people that feel the same, and also that it's okay to feel the way they're feeling, like that's perfectly normal, and that it will get better. You know, that's kind of the message I try to get across anyway.
And do you think that, because you're huge on TikTok, huge on social media, such a big following, but do you think that around the world of people's mental health is becoming a much more talked about subject, and the fact that you're incorporating it into your songs, it brings that more prominence, more people to listen to your tunes and follow you on TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they're always the songs that connect the most on TikTok. And I suppose over the last years, like, everyone's mental health, I think, has taken a bit of a knock. So I'm kind of happy to be able to help in any way. And I mean, I love, I mean, it's only ever since Fake Fine that I actually started to, like, you know, write honest songs about how I was feeling, you know.
Yeah.
It's only since then that was the first song that was, like, about me. I mean, I think everything else was mainly a story, or, you know.
This is Fake Fine, and this is when this was kind of in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you really went for it. It was autobiographical.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I remember playing it for my parents, going, like, before I played it for them, I was like, look, I'm okay, like, you know. And but I was worried because it is like, you know, when I have never done it before. That was the first time, as I'm saying, like, I released a song that was about me, you know, and had, like, elements of what I was feeling in it.
Yeah.
So, but it ended up connecting with everyone, and it was the right
Platinum.
move.
Like,
yeah,
it was huge.
Yeah.
It was a huge song.
It's a super video as well.
It's good. It's fabulous, but it's so funny because we were talking yesterday about a song that's really popular on TikTok, and it's
Last
about
Christmas.
Nope, it's about God taking a nefarious substance, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Because when you're competing with so many different elements, and the more outrageous sometimes these days is what is connecting, and you've got young kids
100%.
going around saying, "You're like, what the hell are they saying? Oh my God." And that's not your style of music at all.
No, like, but that's the thing. I mean, the music is getting more outrageous as the years go on. So, I mean, I'm trying not to go, you know, I mean, maybe eventually I'll have to do something like that. But at the moment, I'm trying to keep to what I feel is me, and, you know, trying to stay authentic as possible, you know.
But you have had your own mental health issues, and you have had times where you've decided to postpone shows on your tour because you felt just you weren't in the right headspace for it.
Yeah.
I mean, was it difficult to do that, or do you think it sent a really good message that nothing is too important, nothing is more important than your own mental health?
I mean, I think that's what everyone took from it, thankfully. I mean, I was worried about, you know, I didn't want to disappoint people, and I wasn't sure on what way people would take it, you know what I mean? Even though I knew, I mean, deep down I knew that everyone would obviously understand, but there's always that side of you that's a bit worried about, you know, will people be angry or upset? But luckily enough, I mean, the response I got was incredible, and I mean, so many lovely messages, and I'm very lucky, to be fair, that that's the response I got. And as you said, it is, I mean, your own health is way more important than anything else, you know.
And the thing is, you do give back, because you're going to be performing at the First Fortnight Festival on the 6th of January, and that's all about putting mental health, regardless of, you know, gender, age, sexual orientation, to the fore. It's really just about sitting down and being open and talking, and you're going to be performing at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of celebration of, like, the progress that we've made as, like, a nation over the last few years, and also a thank you to everyone, you know, that's been involved in actually helping us, like doctors and therapists, all that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's really down my alley, to be fair, so I'm delighted to be a part of it.
And let's talk about TikTok as well. You are the most viewed Irish artist in 2022, like ahead of Picture This, ahead of Niall Horan, ahead of massive, massive stars. I mean, like, how much effort has to go into your TikTok?
Oh, I mean, I put a lot of effort into it, but like, it's a weird one because I thought this year was probably, like, to be honest, no, in the last couple of months, it's done really well, but I thought, like, as a year, as a whole, I thought it wasn't probably my best year on TikTok.
Right.
But to still be the most viewed Irish artist, then I was kind of blown away by it, you know.
What's your method?
I love that.
What's your kind of thinking whenever you're, like, have you a method, have you a way of that seems to work for you and all your different videos?
To be honest, I end up kind of doing something, and if it clicks, I milk it until it doesn't work anymore, and then it's like a case of trying loads of different things until I find something else, and then I absolutely milk that until I can't be milked anymore. You know, so because it's always, the thing about TikTok is that it's constantly changing, and the things that worked, you know, a year ago don't work now, and it's all just, you know, you have to try everything and hopefully.
We're old fogies, we can't be bothered with it. But I love the way you're like
trying to do different things now.
I thought I had a crap year, but like I'm still beating on horns, so you know what I mean. You have got 2 children. You've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Up to high dough, I would imagine, in the house. Look at all. They're so cute. And not 2 yet. 2 in January.
2 on the 10th of January, so not far away.
The excitement.
Oh, I mean, they're so excited. And, like, because my son is so excited for Christmas, my daughter is, like, so excited as well. I mean, to be fair, she's so clever and she's talking away and, like, you know, knows about Christmas and knows that...
Oh, she gets it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's letting on that she gets it now or if it's actually, you know...
Copying.
Yeah. So, but, like, she knows that Santa's coming anyway, you know, so...
How do you get... I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. It's mental in our house. How do you create any content, never mind new stuff?
Having a great wife, I suppose, is, you know...
Do you, like, lock them in a room or something? Like,
I just had... My studio isn't in the house, put it that way.
Okay,
so.
there we go. That's that answer then.
Yeah, so, it's a lot easier that way.
Definitely, to separate what's going on.
Your little 5-year-old, is he into music? Is he?
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah, he's singing away. He's just mental. He loves it though. He's singing Christmas songs there. He's probably singing them at the moment at home. He loves it.
See, whenever I talk about my 5-year-old being mental all the time, I'm not the only one.
No, they're crazy.
But she isn't. She's adorable. I love her. So your brand new song, It's Not Okay. Fabulous video as well, by the way. The animation is so good. And you're going to be at the first Fortnight Mental Health Arts Festival on Friday, the 6th of January. That's in Dublin at Smock Alley. Erica Cody will be there with you as well. Happy Christmas. We hope you have a lovely time.
How do you do the hair?
Again,
do you have to bleach it first?
Oh, yeah. My wife bleached it twice or 3 times, and then we dyed it like red, and then we dyed it. I just go through, like, you know, every few weeks have a mental breakdown.
I think he wants to cosplay as Robert Grace, to be honest.
I do. I love it.
Thanks so much, Robert. Cheers.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers, Robert. That's all from us today. Coming up tomorrow, celloist Patrick Dexter talks new music and his love of the West of Ireland.
We'll be taking a look back on some of the biggest political stories from the year, plus scientist Phil Smith teaches us about the science of Christmas. We will see you then. We hope you have a lovely day. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Right here.
Bright and early.
Bye.